A lot of you made a ton of money from PRCH Group, especially recently with earnings. They popped 20% on the day, the first trading day after earnings. And if we zoom out a bit, we can see that performance has been extremely strong. In this video, to create as much value as possible for you guys, we're going to take a look at some of the important parts of the earnings, and we're going to talk a bit about where the company is going in the future. Before that, some of you are gonna see this video before it's uploaded onto YouTube, so that's gonna be the Discord community. It will be linked as it's unlisted before it's edited and out on YouTube, so make sure to join Discord as well for more value. We have a very strong community. This is a video from 3 years ago where I talked about PRCH Group and what I believe would happen in current year. We can see a comment suggesting me to take a look at PRCH Group, which I indeed did in this video, where we looked at the modeled. I talked about that. All right, 25 million in profitability in 2025. The company was bleeding cash at the time. It traded very low, but they were growing. But as they continued to grow, well, then margins expand. That's the way of business. So that's where we are today. We have profitability. This is indeed the year that I expected it to be profitable. However, it's a bit more profitable than I think anybody could have guessed. Perhaps Matt Ehrlichman, the CEO, had it in mind because he's thinking long term, as you will learn more about in this video as we look at some of the quotes from him from the earnings call. Speaking of earnings call, let's scroll up a bit here so we can see the initial highlights. We can see some of the key updates. Revenue, I was a bit disappointed, 107 millions. They communicated that they would expand partnerships, that they would grow into more territories. And as shareholders, we have been very spoiled recently with PRCH Group, and I expected faster growth. However, Wall Street was definitely not disappointed, as we saw from stock price reaction. Profitability, extremely nice. No disappointments whatsoever. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, roughly 15 million. Cash flow from operations, also roughly 15 million. They are indeed going strong, and they're using the data advantage to get a nice loss ratio on the insurance, and this is reflected in profitability. We can see that there is an advantage in the data that they have. They're selling it as a model to other insurance agencies as well. And as the company approaches a 5 billion market cap, they're a bit less than 2 billion today. But as they approach that, I think that we're gonna see more companies look at perhaps acquiring this company. So that's how I think that the exit is quite likely. Remember, I expected 25 million in profitability, in the earnings here for the company for the entirety of 2025, 3 years ago. So they grew faster than expected. And stock price indeed shows this. We zoomed out a bit. A lot of you guys made a ton of money here. It's a 10xer for myself and for some of you as well. So very nice. And I don't think that the performance of the company will stop anytime soon. However, I expect it to start slowing down as the company gets larger. But for now, they're still very small. Focus is on the right part, I think. If we look at the quote here from Matt Ehrlichman, I will read it to those of you who are just listening in on the video. We got a question on the earnings call. How are you balancing growth versus margin expansion, and what is your strategy for the future? Matt answers, we aim to consistently grow at a strong rate, targeting over 20% annually, while also expanding margins. We plan to manage growth and margin expansion to create long-term shareholder value without maxing out either metric in the short term. This was not something I expected Wall Street to like that much. They tend to be focused more on quarter to quarter, and who knows what they think. We're going to take a look at some short interest later on. What is Wall Street doing? But yeah, this is the benefit when you have a owner operator. Matt owns more than 20% of this company. We get this long-term focus rather than chasing quarterly results for quick bonuses. Focus on growth, focus on margin expansion. It's more sustainable in the long term. So not just growing quickly without profitability, as we can see some other companies do. Very happy as a shareholder with these decisions. Let's take a quick look here at some short interest statistics. Got the inspiration to look at this from the Discord as well. So we can see that short interest has climbed here recently. So this is very expensive for short sellers, the recent stock performance. But we can see that there has been a short interest consistently in this company, and it was a bit higher when they underperformed and had a bad time, and then shorts exited. But now more have entered, and roughly 20% here of the float is shorted as of the latest update here that we can see on MarketBeat. So there is short interest in the stock as well, and when these are driven out, well, then stock price can increase faster. This just means more volatility because, all right, if shorts are exiting, then it's going to create extra buying pressure. And if more shorts enter, well, it can drive down stock price. However, this is no concern for me as a long-term investor. I've been holding this stock for a long time, and I will continue to hold this stock because numbers are just that good. We can scroll through a little bit, look at some of the key KPIs. Oh yes, homeowner insurance premiums. They have increased rapidly. We talked about this a year ago as a direct result of the fires in, for example, California and Hawaii that we saw. The homeowners insurance premiums have increased all over America to compensate for this. Some insurance companies had a bad time as they were exposed to this, and premiums haven't gone up for everybody. And as a result, we're seeing stronger margins when a company is using data and being smart about the policies that they are writing. So we're seeing great profitability as a result of this. So talked about this for about a year ago, and yes, indeed, it's coming into fruition. I don't think that this is gonna stop anytime soon as we're printing more money, and yeah, it's gonna go up more. It's expensive to own a home in America today. Speaking of catastrophic weather events, they asked in the earnings call about the floods in Texas. However, homeowners insurance does not cover floods, so profitability is not affected. More money in our pockets as shareholders. So Porch Group no longer in the catastrophic weather events business here, claims, and it's more of a fee and higher premium based business model with the reciprocal exchange. Guidance was increased. If we scroll down a bit, we can see regarding the guidance. 2025 guidance across the board. Increase in revenue, increase in gross profit, and increase in adjusted EBITDA. So management is expecting for the full year somewhere in between 65 and 70 million in adjusted EBITDA. Very strong results. Very, very strong results. Much appreciated as a shareholder. The highlight, definitely the margins. And as I'm looking into the future, I'm expecting higher growth, higher margin expansion, but higher growth as Porch Group will be entering new territories and partnering with more agencies. So basically writing more insurance policy, We've seen them do it very successfully so far, and I don't see any reason for this to change. When we looked at segments earlier, we saw that insurance is becoming a larger and larger part of total revenue, and the other part of the business with software is becoming smaller. However, should the housing market become stronger with more people moving, selling their home, buying a new one, moving around, well, then we have a increased potential, bullish event there as well. So a very interesting company that I will continue to hold, because the journey is far from over. It's still a small company. They still have a lot of growth ahead, and I'm still very bullish on this stock. Alright, that's been it for this video. As always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.